You don't need permission to demand equity. Your existence is your right. These words weren't spoken in defiance. They were spoken as truth, calm, steady, and undeniable. A reminder that equity isn't a gift to be granted, but a birthright to be honored. And in one bustling Indian city, a quiet revolution began with someone who refused to wait for permission. Aarav, an acclaimed non-binary model with cerebral palsy, stood not at the margins of the fashion world, but at its very threshold. They weren't asking to be included. They were preparing to transform the space entirely. For years, Aarav watched the fashion industry celebrate a narrow vision of beauty, chiseled symmetry, towering frames, and able bodies that moved with conventional ease. The artistry was undeniable, but so was the absence. There were no wheelchairs, no prosthetics, no visible signs of neurodivergence, and there was no runway for those who didn't fit the mold, yet still embodied beauty in every sense. Aarav stopped waiting. They launched Unfiltered, India's first fully disability-inclusive fashion show. But it wasn't just a show, it was a statement. Models with visual impairments strode beside amputees in tailored silhouettes. Wheelchairs weren't concealed, they were celebrated, accessorized, and boldly styled. The runway was fully accessible, the soundtrack was sensory-friendly, and the audience, full of people who had rarely seen themselves reflected in this world. Critics called it daring, designers called it disruptive, Aarav called it long overdue. Under the spotlight, they addressed the crowd with the clarity of someone who knew their worth. You don't need permission to demand equity. Your existence is your right. We don't have to fit into fashion. Fashion must expand to fit all of us. That night, Aarav didn't just challenge an industry, they ignited a movement. Young creatives with disabilities wrote in, inspired to design, perform, and dream without apology. Brands began to rethink, the message spread. Because of Aarav, the Indian fashion scene began to see what had always been true. Representation isn't radical, it's rightful. If this spoke to you, share it and subscribe for daily wisdom for inclusion, the world's first daily source of disability-inclusive motivational quotes. One quote, one story, one day at a time.